Hey guys, so I'm doing this on my private channel, not on my legacy channel, because this is something personal for me. So guys, I'm going to go into something real fast so you guys know where this is coming from, and I want you to know where I'm coming from as far as why I'm making this video. So guys, in the last year alone, in a year and a half, I've had 5 of these. The last year alone, I've had 4. The local police at our local VAMC, Charles George, are complete incompetents. They don't know VA code, they don't know ADA law, they don't know Rehabilitation Act law. They don't understand their rights and responsibilities under the law, and they're plain out, they're just bullies. They're jackasses is what they are, but they're bullies, which is a bigger problem. So guys, I wanted to do a video because this has been kind of sitting in my mind for the last couple of days since this happened, on why you should know and why you should exert your rights when you're dealing, especially with the police. Guys, this goes for any bureaucrat or person in a position of power, but it especially applies to the police, guys. And the 5 reasons I'm going to give you guys, I promise you, if you follow them, your life will be so much simpler, guys. Trust me. Because when the police or an authority figure tries to bully you around, and if you follow these 5 tips, I promise you, they'll stop trying to bully you around real fast. Because they're going to figure out you know what you're talking about. So the first thing you got to do, guys, you got to study, you got to research. Guys, that's step 1 on this. It's the first tip I'm going to give you. Know what your rights are. Let me tell you something. Here's something most people do not realize. Did you know the police cannot question you unless they're apprehending you? They can stop you. They can start to question you. If they do this, you have every legal right to question them back and say, are you apprehending me? If they say no, you can tell them to get screwed. That is legal. They have no legal right to hold you unless they're holding you under apprehension. If they're apprehending you, it triggers Miranda. Whether they give you those warnings or not, if they're apprehending you, you have the right to Miranda. Congratulations. So they are in a catch-22. They can question you at any point, but if they're not apprehending you, you have no obligation to answer their questions. None. You go research that for yourself and you'll find out I'm telling you the truth. That's part of Terry v. Ohio. You absolutely have no reason to be questioned by the police. Further, the police cannot just stop you willy-nilly. They can't decide they can't decide that they don't like you, so they're going to stop you every time they see you. That's illegal. Under, again, Terry v. Ohio. They have to have a reasonable suspicion that you're breaking the law. And even then, they have to make the stop in a timely fashion. They can't see you acting suspicious, wait a day or 2, and then go try to pick you up on a random questioning. That violates your rights. You have the right to a timely interrogation as well. If they think you're getting ready to case a jewelry store, they can't wait to question you. The courts have held that they have to do these things in a timely fashion. Because otherwise, you don't even know what you've done wrong half the time. If a cop waits 2 days to question you about something they thought you were doing wrong 2 days before, you may not even remember doing what they're claiming you're doing. But we saw you in front of that jewelry store 2 days ago. Well, funny, because I walk that way to work every day, so I don't really remember what you're talking about. They have to do it in a timely fashion, and they have to do it under reasonable suspicion. And reasonable suspicion, as defined by the law, is reasonable to a reasonable observer. Not just the police. Reasonable observer. That doesn't mean the police can decide that they don't like the way you're standing and just come stop you. They have to have a reasonable suspicion that a reasonable observer would agree with. Which means if you're looking in the windows of a closed store and you're acting suspicious as hell, they have a right to stop you. You're standing on a street corner reading the street names, not so much. Again, guys, you can do all this research yourselves. Know, research, read, and know. You have unlimited, unholy amounts of rights when it comes to the police stopping you and questioning you. Like I said, in the second half of that is if they are going to apprehend you, it triggers Miranda. Immediately triggers Miranda protection. If they put you in custody, and yes, by the way, custody as defined by the law, I can't remember the case law right now, because I've forgotten it. I've got it somewhere in my head, but it says custody is defined as you feeling you have the inability to leave a questioning situation. It no longer is an interview, it is an interrogation. Custody is not defined by physical custody. So the moment they think you feel like you can't leave their questioning, they have apprehended you and you can request an attorney. They cannot deny you. If they deny you an attorney while they have you under apprehension, they have violated Miranda and have violated your civil rights. Congratulations. You have those two rights. So there is no room to play in the joints there for the police. They can try to make it out like they can. There's no room to play in the joints. Either they're questioning you and intending to apprehend you, or they're interviewing you, and you have every right to walk away from an interview if you don't want to talk to the police. Those are their two options. They don't have some magical third option that says, we can hold you, but don't trigger Miranda. So research that stuff for yourself, guys. Know what your rights are under the law. Research them. Second tip I'm going to give you guys, don't say anything. Guys, don't say anything to the police. Dead freaking serious. There's a book out there called You Have the Right to Remain Silent. Okay, whole book is about how the police will trick you into saying things that they can then use to create motive. Do not say anything. When they get in your face, start telling you things that are wrong, first off, if you're me, I told those cops the other day that they didn't know what they were talking about, and then I asked if they ever put me under apprehension. When they told me no, I said, I'm out of here. I'm gone. You're not holding me, I'm out of here. You have no legal right to hold me, so screw you. I told them that they were in my face trying to tell me that I had to leave the hospital, and I said, you guys are violating the ADA of 1990 and the Rehabilitation Act of 1974 right now. So you might want to back off of me. And they kept pushing and said, am I under apprehension? No, then I'm out of here. You have no legal right to hold me. My service animal has not broken any law. You did not, even if he had, you waited 20 minutes to bring it to my attention, so you did not do it in a timely fashion. Basically, they tried to question me and tried to grill me on what I was still had left to do at the VA, which, by the way, illegal is none other. Cannot question me like that. When you have questions about a service animal, two questions you're allowed to ask. You ready for them? Is a service animal? What service does it provide? Violated that rule too. They have no legal right to ask me to have my service animal removed from a premises unless they do it in a timely fashion, even if he had done something wrong, which I'm not convinced he did, because I followed the law, which says he did try to pull me to go see somebody. I immediately stopped, pulled him to the side, and put him on a short leash so he couldn't do it. Which, if you go read the ADA law, says that's what you're supposed to do. If your animal comes out of control, you put it back under control, making a good faith effort, which is what I did. So they can screw themselves. I followed the law, they didn't. But that's beside the point. So guys, don't say anything. If they start questioning you and you know they don't have any basis for their questions, the only thing you say is, are you apprehending me? And if they say, well, yes, we are, well, then I want an attorney. I'm triggering Miranda right now. Get me an attorney. I'm saying nothing till you get me an attorney. If they say no, walk away. They say, well, you can't walk away. Then I'm under arrest and you need to get me an attorney. Those are their choices, guys. Cops are fucking jackasses because they don't know what they're talking about. So, guys, if they tell you you can't leave a questioning, you turn around and you tell them that. You say, then I want an attorney. You're holding me against my will. You have me in custody. And say, well, we haven't arrested you yet. Not according to the courts, honey. You're holding me against my will. Any prolonged detainment, and if I feel I am unable to leave the presence of the police, I am in custody. And you remind them of that. That's the only time you should say anything. And if they try to needle you into saying something so they can pin you with a charge, stay quiet. Don't say anything in regards to what's going on. Don't. Call their bullshit and walk away from them. That's fine. Same thing. If they come with your car and say, can I search your car? And you know you've done nothing wrong and they have no reasonable suspicion. You know what the 5 words you say to them? The only 5 words you say to them? Go get a, or sorry, 4 words. Go get a warrant. Because they're never going to get it if they don't have reasonable suspicion. And since the national precedent was set by the Arizona Supreme Court that things like the smell test are no longer valid for getting warrants, every state has basically adopted that. Good luck with them going to a magistrate saying, well, I smell marijuana in the car. It won't pass the smell test. It won't pass the reasonable standard anymore. Because I can't prove that cop didn't smell anything. That's why that standard is no longer allowed. Because when you put me on trial on the basis that a cop smelled alcohol in my car, well, how do I prove he didn't? You're asking me to prove a negative. So guys, seriously, I mean, don't say anything except what you need to, basically. That's what the whole point is. Don't say anything beyond what you need to say. Third tip, know when warrant law applies. Seriously know this, guys. Cop comes up to you and says, I want to search your vehicle. And he has no reason to. Tell him no. Do not be afraid of police. And don't buy the line, well, if you have nothing to hide, then you should let the cop search your vehicle. Bull crap. It's a privacy issue. The cop has no reason to search you. He has no reason to be in your face. He has no reason to be harassing you. He definitely has no reason to be searching around your car, right? If he's just in your face because he's a jerk, trying to search your car, he pulled you over and he doesn't like the way you look because you dress like, because you have dreads and you're African American, you have dreads, and he thinks you sell drugs because he has the wrong stereotype of you. That doesn't give him a right to search your car. Okay, let's just stop it right there. He needs a reason to search your car, and if you know he has no reason, you tell him to bite you. You will not give them permission to search your car unless he has a reason to do it. And by the way, did you know that cops can only search on a standard search readily accessible parts of a vehicle anyways? Even with your permission. They can search your glove box, your center console, and any visible part of the car, including under the seats. It stops right there. If they go to search your engine compartment, your trunk, your gas cap, they've broken the law. Unless you give them explicit permission to search those areas. They have no legal reason to search those areas. Unless they have reasonable suspicion, which triggers warrant law. Too bad. You can, and I'm telling you guys, you can look all this stuff up for yourself. I'm telling you, they can't do it. I've looked it up for myself. If you guys are ever curious how I learned all this, guys, I took 4 years of law classes. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about here, guys. They don't have the right to just go search whatever they want. I've had people tell me, oh, no, they can search your gas cap if they want. No, they can't. It's a privacy issue. They're only allowed to search readily accessible parts of your car. Your gas cap is not considered readily accessible. Your trunk is not considered readily accessible because you have to open it. It has to be triggered to be opened. You have to hit a button on a key. You have to pull a latch. You have to get out and unlock it. You can't just search a trunk. The courts have held that numerous times over. Fourth thing I want to tell you guys, and this goes back to number 2, guys. Know what custody is. Please, God, know what custody is. Talk about a second ago, guys. Custody is the police holding you against your will, not making you feel like you're incapable of leaving. That's what it is. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find that exactly where that case comes from. Give me a second. I've just been there's legal dictionary. I know it comes out of a case. I'm trying to remember which case that is. That's a really long-winded one. So this is actually wrong here. It's telling me, oh, it's only when they put you into an arrest occurs. But in fact, actually, it says it straight up. Police can have you in their custody without actually arresting you. Police custody is generally defined as any time the police deprive you of your freedom of action or where you know you cannot get up and leave the presence of the police by your free will. I'm trying to think if I find the actual case law for it. It's been a while since I've looked at it. Pursuit, negligence. Yeah, it's Terry v. Ohio, 329 U.S. 188, Second Circuit, 1868. It's a 1968 case. So, and guys, like I said, you know, you cannot sit there and be held against your will. Guys, that is custody. By definition, that's custody. Are you free to leave? So let me give you 2 terms, well, 3 terms. Okay, guys, I'm gonna quote 3 terms to you real fast about custody, so you know the differences. There's custody, apprehension, and arrest. Now, this is where Americans get so goddamn confused. I apologize for some of this language, guys, but this is where people get confused. Okay, they think that custody only means when you get handcuffed. Absolutely not. Abso-freaking-lutely not. Arrest is when you get handcuffed and taken away by the police. That's an arrest. They're arresting your ability to move freely. You're taken into custody. They've deprived you of your liberty. You're apprehended if they don't arrest you. Those are the differences. I'm serious. Go look them up for yourselves, guys. Go back to number 1. Research this yourselves. You're apprehended if they don't put you in handcuffs, put you in a police car, and drag you away. but they still hold you against your will. You're considered apprehended. Not considered arrested, you're considered apprehended. And I'll go out on a limb and say, I actually will argue with the idea that arrest means you have to be handcuffed or put in a police car. I think you can be arrested different ways, but that's a debate that actually goes on within the legal community itself. I don't know why there's two words for apprehension and arrest. I think they're basically the same thing. But I guess those three words are important to understand. Know when you're in custody, because if you're apprehended or arrested, you're in custody. So when you ask a cop, are you apprehending me? And he says, yes, you are in custody. Once you are in custody, Miranda triggers. He has to inform you of your rights. And anyone else sits there and tries, well, no, they can technically hide your right. No, they can't. If they fail to notify you that you have the right to an attorney and you have the right to withhold information from the police upon apprehension or arrest, they have violated your civil liberties. Congratulations, guys. You need to exert those rights. And guys, these apply also, by the way, these also apply to bureaucratic issues too, by the way. Did you know that you can tell the IRS to go suck it if they start telling you that they're going to seize your bank account with no evidence? Tell them to suck it and hire an attorney to fight it. Because the attorney can file motions in federal court to stop the seizure. And they're called just cause motions. That's the terminology that's used for the just cause. They can file a subpoena, basically a motion in court for a hearing where the IRS has to show up in front of a federal judge and prove to a federal judge that they have just cause to seize your account. Do the same thing with any bureaucrat you deal with. An FBI agent shows up at your house, treat him like a cop. He is a cop. You're dealing with a federal government official from HUD. Same thing, guys. If they violate the law. Now, did you know you have appeal rights if they try to take away your Section 8 housing? Most people don't. Be surprised. Do you know you can hire an attorney to fight a Section 8 violation? For some stupid reason, say some stupid person comes in your house, you don't know, and they come in and they start smoking pot, and somebody finds out about it and reports you. You lose your Section 8 housing. You have the right to appeal that through the legal process. They actually have several processes set in place, but at the end of it, you can sue HUD over it. You have the right to do these things, guys. You have the right to make HUD prove that you're the one who violated law, and that you did everything that they claim in full awareness of the illegality. That's a big part of it, guys. Understand that too. Under criminal law, a lot of criminal law relies on mens rea, the guilty mind. You have to know and be aware of the full illegality of the actions you're taking before they can start charging you with crap. That's the guys. I'm going to move this into fifth. That's fifth point, guys. Understand that you do not commit a crime, automatically commit crimes just because you cross a line somewhere, magical line. While the police will treat you that way and justice system can treat you that way, there is affirmative defenses within the law if you didn't know you were violating the law. And this is a tricky part, guys, so you got to understand, because under the law, ignorance of the law is no defense. But we're not talking about ignorance. What we're talking about is you drive your friend to a house and he murders somebody and they charge you as an accessory after the fact. But you had no clue your friend had a gun. You had no clue what he was planning on doing it. And you didn't hear or see anything. Right? You still technically are an accessory after the fact. You were there when he killed him and then you drove him away from the crime scene. But you didn't know he'd done anything wrong. Right? You have the right to exert that in a courtroom. Guys, you're not always just breaking law because you broke the code. There is play in those joints, guys. Understand that. So when the cops say, well, you jaywalked. Okay, that's small, piddly thing, I wouldn't even fight that. But if they come to you and say, well, we know you were there when that theft happened, we're going to charge you as an accessory. But you weren't even, either you weren't there, or you weren't near the crime scene. Maybe you picked them up after they robbed it. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. You can exert your rights then and say, look, you can claim I'm an accessory all you want. All I did was pick them up. I didn't know they robbed anymore. It's not that you're ignorant of law. You know that picking up somebody after a crime is a crime. But the question then becomes, did you know you were picking them up after a crime? Did you have intent to break the law? Did you commit mens rea? You clearly committed the actus rea. You committed the act itself. Did you commit mens? Did you solidify mens rea? Did you break the law with the intent of breaking the law? There's a reason that there's an intent requirement for most crimes, both criminal and civil, by the way. Did you know I can't just slap you around? I can't slap these cops up at the VA with charges of ADA violations simply because they violated the ADA. I'm going to slap them around with ADA violations because they've done this in the past. I've talked to my congressman, and they've had contact with other people that are having this problem. So these cops know they're breaking the fucking law. They just don't care. It's because, understand, we don't have a culture. We don't have a culture of people who understand their rights at all. They don't exert them. They don't understand them. Guys, know your rights. Exert them. Push the cops back. I'm tired of hearing these people go, well, the cops are so tough and they're just doing their job. A lot of them aren't, guys. I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm starting to discover this. There are a slew of cops who enjoy being bullies. They like pushing people. They like to use the power they have because they know that the average person has no freaking clue what they're doing. The average person thinks if a cop comes to question, you have to answer the questions. I mean, look at TV shows. Look at police procedurals. That's how they present it. Oh, the cops question, they have to answer. No, they don't. Hell no. I can tell the cops to get bent, and if they don't like it, you know what they can do? They can get bent. That's how they get those options. And if they don't like that I tell them to get bent, and further, and let me mention something here, guys. If you ever tell an officer to get bent, basically, and then he says, well, I'm apprehending you, and he doesn't have a charge, that's unlawful arrest. He has no legal reason to arrest you. He can't just arrest you. This idea that people in TV shows see it all the time. You see it in Law and Order was terrible for it, by the way. Well, if you don't tell us what we want, we'll just arrest you. No, it doesn't work that way, buddy. Like the biggest one they'll use is, I'll get you on disorderly conduct. If I'm being calm, civil, polite, while exerting my rights, and you arrest me for that, not only have you violated my civil rights, you've also created an unlawful arrest, which is an ethical violation, which will probably get you, at best, fired. At worst, probably arrested yourself. Because then, on top of it, if they put you in a jail cell, you get them on unlawful arrest, you get them on unlawful, unlawful imprisonment, which is a real charge, by the way. Very rarely used against the police, but unlawful imprisonment. And these are things would probably go into a civil suit rather than a criminal charge, but you would have them on unlawful arrest, unlawful imprisonment, unlawful confinement. You'd have him on abuse of authority. You'd have him on violating your rights under Terry to not be interrogated if he's not apprehending you. If he did not intend to apprehend you originally, he did apprehend you for exerting your right not to be apprehended or not to answer questions, then he violates your Terry rights because he has to have reasonable suspicion under Terry v. Ohio. Guys, this is, if you've not figured this out yet, guys, this is very complicated. Law is not simple. This is why people go to school for 4 years for Juris Doctorates. That's why I spent 4 years in an undergraduate degree that's focus was process. How the law functions. So guys, if you guys get stopped by the police, seriously, guys, I encourage you. If you get stopped by the police, guys, the first couple of things you need to ask them. If they stop you, am I under apprehension? End of story. Especially if you think they're stopping you because they're just trying to be bullies. Guys, if they're stopping you because you're legitimately a witness to a crime, don't go off the deep end. Guys, understand that if the police are stopping you for legit, this is all based on the idea that they're stopping you for illegitimate reasons. Understand that. If a cop is trying to question you because you were nearby when a shooting happened, and it's probable that you heard gunshots or you saw the suspect fleeing or whatever, guys, answer their questions, guys. Always. Always try to help the police actually stop crime. That's their job. But dude, if they're coming up to you because you have a service animal they don't like, or they're coming up to you because, like I said, you're a black dude with dreads, guys, tell them to screw themselves. They have no legal authority to push you, and no legal authority to bully you, and no legal authority to demand that you do things that are illegal. You need to understand how the law works. And like I said, go back to point one, guys. You can check everything I'm saying, you can go research it for yourself. You got to find out I'm telling you the truth. The law protects you from the police. All this bull crap you see on television, all this bull crap you hear from the media about how, well, when the police question, you really don't have rights. You have a crap ton of rights. Just as a point of reference, guys, in case you're wondering what custody, being taken in custody, how far that extends, the Supreme Court ruled in a case out of Tennessee, I can't remember that guy's father that sued the state right now. It was a 1970s case. I had to pull it up again. It's been a while since I've read it. I had to read it and do a paper on it, actually. And actually, the whole paper was on why lethal force was a form of seizure. Killing a suspect is considered a form of seizure. And this guy's father sued the police in his local hometown, won at the Supreme Court. They lost their qualified immunity, by the way. And he won at the Supreme Court, guys, because the Supreme Court ruled that the level of force that was used was not proportionate to the criminal or the act that had been committed. He was unarmed. The kid weighed like 115 pounds and was like 5'8". And there were 3 cops that shot him in the back while he was trying to jump the fence. So yes, custody is very broad. And in fact, in that case, the Supreme Court's exact wording was that lethal force is the ultimate form of seizure because you can never get out of it. If you're dead, you can't get out of the seizure. So guys, like I said, look it up yourselves. You can research it all yourselves. Don't take to my word for it. Understand that I'm telling you things because I've got the expertise and the knowledge for it. But understand, I'm also telling you things, guys, because you need to know what your rights and responsibilities are. And I'm sick and tired of cops bullying people. After finding out they're doing this to other people at the VA, it pissed me off even worse. Because nobody deserves to be treated like this. And the way to stop it is for you to understand what your rights and responsibilities are. Because just so you know, I'm going to go in here and edit this description, guys. I'm going to drop a couple links on you. So you can see for yourself what your rights are. Some of these rights are that I'm talking about. Drop some links to the description of what custody is and how custody works, what apprehension and arrest is. I want you guys to have some of these resources available to you when you watch this video. Because guys, like I said, don't deal with people who are bullies. And let me tell you something, police that are bullies are just like high school bullies. They only are bullies as long as you don't punch them back in the mouth. In this sense, proverbially, please don't punch a cop because, God, that's assaulting an officer, and that's a very serious charge. Never punch a cop, ever. Try not to. Let me rephrase that statement because, again, guys, you can go look this case up too. I don't feel like digging it out. There was a case that just got decided last year, 2015, I think. 2015 or 2016. Supreme Court ruled that if a cop is using excessive force, you have the right to knock the shit out of him. You can break his fucking jaw. And it's considered self-defense. But it's very narrowly tailored. So please don't punch a cop. But just like I said, just like all bullies, that's how you stop a bully. You stop a bully by proving that they're not all that tough. And you punch them in the mouth and you teach them a lesson. Anyways, guys, I did this video not for accolades or what you guys think about it, because the truth is I'm hoping this video can help some people who've had some issues in the past or maybe in the future. And if you've got friends that are having problems with cops, please send this video to them. Because those 5 tips I gave you guys, I promise you, they will help you a lot in different circumstances. I'm going to say this cautiously because, guys, I don't believe race has as much to do with arrest records as people think it does. I think it's a lot of it's socioeconomic. I think it's provable through statistical study. But guys, I'm going to tell you, a lot of minorities tend to get arrested, even though it's socioeconomic more than racial, because a lot of minorities tend to be lower on the socioeconomic scale, and it sucks and it's unfair. So if you have minority friends, I would really encourage them to watch this video. And like I said, I'll link the stuff they need. They can look it up for themselves, edit for themselves. Guys, please understand, if you've got friends that have had problems with cops, like I said, especially minority friends or lower income friends, guys, let them know this video exists, because I'm promising you at least one of these tips will help them down the line. Because I'm positive if you've got friends that live in very large cities that are minorities in particular, like Milwaukee or New York or Chicago, they've been stopped for no freaking reason because of the color of their skin. Or because they come from the wrong part of town. And it's not fair to them. It's wrong. Anyways, guys, I think I'm gonna actually start doing some more of these videos because this actually kind of cathartic. I can't say that freaking word. Sorry. For me, it creates catharsis for me. So, guys, just really some more videos like this, just because I think they're good. I think they're good to talk to people about what the rights are, what the responsibilities are under the law. I think the next video I'm going to do a nice video on what ADA service dog law actually says, not what bullshit morons down the street tell you it says, what people say, how the law actually reads. Anyways, guys, take care. Hopefully this will go far and wide, and God knows, I hope it helps somebody. Anyways, guys, catch you later.